Can't trust your team. Tell you if you got boogers in your nose. Hey, everybody. What's going on? Troy Rawlings here. Welcome to another exciting episode.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
All right. All right.
You got to say very exciting. I'm on the damn thing here.
Very exciting episode. I got the SS firecracker in the building. The Realest, motivational. I don't know what to call you. I like this. You had on there perspective specialist. Like your perspective is the one that you need to focus your life around. I'm not telling you how to think.
No, so perspective specialist means that I help people find the different perspectives.
Oh.
To look at things. And so you have your, I heard many years ago, and it stuck with me, the size, I mean, the catastrophe, how do I want to say this? The catastrophe of a storm is based on the size of your boat. So if you're in a storm and you're in a little tiny, fisher boat, well, then the storm's going to be terrible. But if you're in a yacht, it may just feel like a little shake. But if you're in a ship, you may not feel the storm at all, right? So it's based on your perspective. It literally is based on your perspective. So what I do as a perspective specialist is I try to get people to understand that, yes, where you're at it feels like this. But if you change your view a little bit, it will literally change the situation as a whole. And if you look at it from someone else's perspective, you probably wouldn't feel the same way towards that person as you feel today.
McGlover.
Meegan.
Oh, is it Meegan?
Yeah.
Meegan McGlover.
Thank you.
I wanted to say her name because I know people were taking notes already. And they were like, who is she? Meegan.
A catastrophe correctly.
I've been sitting there talking to you. I was yelling across the room. I was like, Megan. You're like, yeah, don't answer if it's not.
You won't get corrected, but I need to see your face when I corrected you. Ain't gonna be no yelling across the room. You look at my eye. Meegan McGlover is here on Meet the. Thank you, Meegan, for taking a minute of your schedule. Honored to be here.
How did you get? Let's go all the way back. We in it already. That's how we do with Meet the. We jump in. Oh. So you're originally from Southern California.
Yes. Originally born and raised in Orange County, Anaheim Hills. To Andrew and Wanda McGlover, my mother and father, and went to private school all my life, except for like 6 months when I went to public school, and it was traumatizing. So born and raised in Orange County, and then when I became what I thought was an adult, I moved to Los Angeles. I lived in Mid-Wilshire over there off of Olympic, and lived there for a few years, and just kind of frolicked around that area. Los Angeles.
Just frolicking.
Washington, what I've done, just kind of frolicked around. So I've been around Southern California a little bit, and I lived in, my grandmother moved she owned property in Inglewood, right over there, Queen Street, right over there by the cemetery in the Forum. And then she moved to Rancho Cucamonga when it first opened up, like Rancho Cucamonga. And we used to make fun of the name, like, where the hell is Rancho Cuca? What? You sound like some KKKs live out there. So anyways, so she moved out there, and then the family kind of started migrating from Orange County into there. So we lived in Yorba Linda, we lived in Corona Hills, and then at one time I lived in Riverside, and I just kind of, my sister now lives in Temecula, and so I've been all over Southern California. Let's put it that way.
And all around. So how did you find out, or when did you find out that your voice got attention? When did you find out that you could say something and people would look up and be like, who is that? Because there had to be some kind of revelation where you realize I got something to say.
I realized that my voice could cause problems when I was in high school. But I realized my voice made a difference when I was probably, my mother started teaching me to be an oratorical speaker at age of 3. So, but I don't think I really got it at 3. You know what I mean? Like at 3, you don't really have the cognitive understanding of what's happening. You're just doing whatever you're. But I'm sure around like maybe, I don't know, maybe like 7 or 10 or something like that, I started realizing that the elevation of my voice and the tone of my voice, and that I had some real power, because my mother
you could call attention at certain levels, and you could get eyes looking, hey, everyone, you know.
Yeah, and my mother would have me to, you know how you hear stories about, like, you'll hear like Eddie Murphy say like, oh, you know, family would come over on the weekend and they'd say, Eddie, come in here and tell us a joke, you know. And so my mother wouldn't have me tell a joke, but she would have me recite in front of company. And that was happening from when I was 3 and on or whatever. And then of course in front of church and stuff like that. But my mother was my first audience. So I would do stuff in the grocery store and my mother would laugh and laugh. I remember one time, I don't know how old I was. I was a young adolescent, and we were in the grocery store, and somehow I came up with this idea that I was going to be a what was it? It was like I was teaching foreigners how to live in America, and so you came. So we went into the grocery store.
In the grocery store.
And I was teaching you how to buy groceries, okay, and what the different groceries were. But I had this Jamaican accent, and to this day, I cannot do it. I don't know how I did it. I don't know where I got it from. But I did this Jamaican accent, and tears were coming down my mother's eyes. I'll never forget. She laughed so hard. I mean, she was in tears. She was like, Meegan, please stop. And I went through everything. I went through the soap and the bananas and the broccoli. And this is what you need. And you need this in America. You have to stay clean. I know in the other countries you can be funky, but here you need deodorant. I mean, I went through this whole thing. And I was like 12. So he was my first audience. So we used to make each other laugh all the time. Now, when I was a teenager, now I got to get to the other part. So when I was a teenager, I realized that my voice could get people in trouble or cause a problem because I would speak up in class. So I was a straight A student, but I took no shit from the teachers. I was and I was not a class clown. But if the teacher was wrong, I would correct them, which teachers, you know, adults don't like. Authority doesn't like that at all. And so I was always being sent to the principal's office. Always.
So he was like, all right, Meegan. I'm just saying, Mr. Johnson.
Well, no, it wasn't really like that. It would be like they would say something, and then I would say what I say. And then when I say what I say, it's so disruptive that it was like, go to the principal's office. It was not a back. It was just like,
you only need one kid to say, damn. And everybody, oh.
Yeah, it was like, just get out. Yeah. So.
All right. So private school, high school, go to college. What did you want to do?
I went to college late in life. So I thought I wanted to just go to college to just get a degree. So I started in.
So rewind. What did you do before you went to college? What was the detour?
I just had jobs.
Right.
Actually, I had some really good jobs. I was a center director for 7 years in my 20s, like early 20s. Like I had like an old person job in my early 20s. Because I just have a gift of leadership, and I have, organized mind and all this other stuff. So that was good. I enjoyed it. I was out in Signal Hill, which is Long Beach. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed my team and my employees and all that. It was great. But I wasn't doing I guess in a way, I'm always in my purpose because I was always helping my employees with working out. We would have fast and cleanses for the month. And, I would actually go to some of my employees' kids' schools and talk to the principal about different situations at the school and all. So I was always in my purpose. but I didn't like California, so I ended up leaving. Yeah, I don't like California very much.
You didn't like Cali.
No.
So, all right. So when you went to school, where'd you go to school?
So I went to a couple different schools, but I went to, so when I finally went to school, when I went to school, I went online. So I have a degree from University of Phoenix. I have a degree from Southern New Hampshire University, and I'm finishing up my last degree at Walden University.
In psychology?
That is correct.
No. Tell them what you told me. You're working on your dissertation.
Yes, I am. I don't really like to put that out there. I like to.
I don't care. I don't. You said you don't mind what we talk about, and guess what? We talking about her now.
Anybody who's watching, don't tell Troy shit because he got loose lips. Okay?
Hold up. Here's the thing. I come here. I could have talked about anime or Charlie whoever. I could have talked about relationship stuff.
Hey.
I don't know. It's just the country names you yanked from out the sky. Anime. Charlie.
I could have talked about anime. Tina Turner? Who are you talking? What? Okay, I
talk about anything, but I talk about your educational prowess. I want to mention that because people may not know. People see people online and may not know, but I do.
So I am finishing up my dissertation in for my PhD for the philosophy of social psychology. So the shit that I talk about is like really learned shit. Like I'm not just making it up. I actually know what I'm talking about.
But it's a couple things. When I started looking at you and watching your stuff, I was like, who is this sister? And then I was like, no, who is she? Because I had to listen. Because sometimes you hear people, they're in the car and they're like, all right, let me tell y'all something. It's like, oh, here we go. And then you finish, I was like,
that might make some sense.
Yeah, by the second time I listened to her, I was like, yo, she has a crazy control of her voice. It's her own voice. You can't miss a voice. If you hear her in the middle, oh, hey! Like, oh, that's Meegan. Where is she?
Is that?
What is she doing? So I just wanted to see how it all lined up. And going forward, how did you get introduced to, were you already doing stuff online, or how did you, because you said that's not really your thing, you're not a techie, you're not that online person. How did you find out that, or when did you know that online was a good platform for you to just kind of because more than venting, you're touching on topics that people need to hear and you're pulling people in.
Yeah. So actually the way it started, very funny. In 2010, the end of 2010, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And January 2011 was one of the crazy winter storms. They had snow and all that kind of shit. So my family in California kept calling me and asking me, oh my God, how is it going? Because that's my first like living in winter. Oh my God, what are you doing? So what I did was I started putting videos on YouTube to explain to my family what was going on. And they literally went viral. I mean, millions and millions of hits. Like, it went crazy. I was on the Weather Channel. I was on, and I mean physically on the web. They had me go to the Weather Channel. Like, I was on different radio stations. It went bananas. So that's how it all started back in 2011. In 2012, September 2012, my mother was murdered. And so I just kind of stopped everything. So I don't know, maybe if I had continued, maybe things would have I'd be further along. I don't know. Because things are about momentum sometimes. And so when that happened, I just kind of, well, obviously I needed to just stop. I needed to stop and breathe and make sure I was still alive and all that good stuff. And then I kind of just got back on it. And then when I got back on, Instagram was going on. So I just kind of jumped on the Instagram. So I still haven't really, I mean, I do my videos and stuff, but I haven't really put my foot in the ground yet. And I'm working on that now, just kind of like really making my name known. I haven't really done that. I just put like videos up when I'm thinking of something or something comes to me and I'll just put a video. but I haven't like gotten back on YouTube and gotten back, like I haven't really gotten back into it, but I will.
So when you talk about, because your mom's, and see, y'all can tell by my expression sometimes that we do a little pre-talk, but if they drop something on me like their mother being murdered, and you see my face and my head go back, and I'm like looking for
nope. Kleenex, right?
I drift out of the right. Ooh, hot in here. It's hot. Garlic and onions. So when you say flip pain into purpose, for some reason I could imagine it's that, but your mother was the one who there's a divine flow of God. To think there's not a divine flow of how God lays things out, we'd be crazy. For your mother to be the one to put you on that path and continuously encourage you in doing it, you're flowing in it, and then you take a hit, then you get right back to doing it. Even though you haven't put your foot in it, you don't know how you're affecting people, but also you're probably starting to build a nice clientele base. But when you say flip pain into purpose, of course, I know that's a part of it, but what else? What else is it that motivated you to start speaking more directly? I heard the piece you did the other day on something that, not to date this, but if you're anywhere in the world, May 2020, you realize that we're in the midst of a pandemic, COVID-19. Oh, the world is a global situation. So one of the things that have been coming up is about what happens to those who are quarantined with their abuser. Mm. And you touched on that, which was, I love the way you touched on it, because you touched on it in every aspect: spiritual, physical, everything. In a nutshell, quickly and to the point, and let people know I'm here for you in a way that wasn't corny, it wasn't violent, but it was very direct. It was it wasn't like kill them. It wasn't Uptown Saturday Night, I'm gonna murder the sucker. It wasn't that violent.
Like Eddie Murphy said, just go to sleep.
Right. Why don't you just go to sleep? Yeah. Exactly. So what else was it that pulled you and you realized that this needed to be voiced? I looked on your site. You talked about LGBTQ talking to parents, how to navigate that. Where's the pulse of it come from? Where you say, okay, I'm gonna just. I don't think you ever sugarcoated anything. Probably if you in the grocery store making your mom laugh in the Jamaican voice talking about, this is how foreigners need to buy groceries. Come on around, everybody.
It was really funny. I'm telling you, it's really funny. When you have a purpose, it nags at you, And so my purpose nagged at me, just kind of nagged at me. Not only did my mother raise me, my grandmother raised my mother, obviously, and so forth and so on, raised me to be an oratorical speaker, but also raised me to be very kind and loving and appreciative and grateful and gracious. And so with that, I have a affection towards people. I feel that people are misunderstood. Everyone. And I think that we don't do enough talking. And so I feel that a lot of my purpose is to talk for those who don't. It's not like talk for those who don't have a voice. Sometimes you have a voice, but you don't know what to say, or you can't put it in the right words, And a lot of times people are hurting, they're upset, they're angry, they're this and the other. And if you could just simply understand where they're coming from, they may not be able to say where they're coming from, but if they could, then you could understand and have a little bit more compassion for them. Not necessarily take the pain away or do anything necessarily, but just for somebody to know that you understand, that you get it. Sometimes that's just enough for them to go one more day. And so I feel like I have something, there's something there when I'm speaking to my counseling clients on the phone. I'll say something and they'll be like, are you sure you're not a psychic? And it's not necessarily that I'm a psychic. It's just that I'm in tune with what you're telling me. And so I understand the other parts that go along with that. So sometimes 1 and 1 really does just make 2. It's not necessarily that I am psychic. It's just that I'm in tune with your position. You know, just I can feel it. I can sense it. And so that's really my gift. So that's why my videos kind of come across that way, because I get it. And so I'm really just kind of speaking what people are feeling, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. I mean, it's called compassion. That is the base of what compassion is. Compassion is being able. It's empathy. It's tuning into the feeling of someone. It's listening. It's a big part of listening. It's funny because we see a lot of great orators, but we don't think about it that you have to be a good listener, or one to be a counselor, but also to have compassion and like people. So that in and of itself is, and how did that, your mom, how close were you and your mom
very close. We talked pretty much every day, 1, 2, 3 hours a day. Just ridiculous. Very close. That was my girl. That was my homegirl. That was my. When I speak, a lot of times I sound just like her, to the point where I'm like kind of a little frightened. You know, like, oh, yeah. I'll look at my videos and go, oh, she didn't cuss, but everything else is the same.
That's the thing. And I didn't even know that was a technique. I do a sex, love, relationship tour, and the same things you mentioned. When I first started, people were looking like, you just talking about sex, this, that, and other. I said, the difference between me and the average person, they can go on Dr. Phil, will talk to whoever and be like, well, he's just not, I'm not really, we're not on the same wavelength. With me, it's like, oh, well, he ain't going down on me. What do I got to do to make sure, because all of a sudden, the clap.
Orally satisfied.
Right. Using all the wrong syllable claps. They missing this was supposed to be for syllables. My daughter's doing it now and I crack up. She's like, why are you laughing, Daddy? I said, because I'm trying to tell you.
Right. You're not hearing me though.
So I totally understand but it comes from a core of loving people.
Yeah.
And if you don't love people, we can't do this. So that's the part that drew me to you. I could tell. He was like, you could tell in the loving way of calling when you call people hoe. Oh no. Oh. I was like, he's saying hoe. I went to the website and she got a shirt. I got the t-shirt.
Now I don't get everybody the hoe. Hoe is what it is. Hoe. I'm telling you what it is. Okay.
It slide out and it puts a little. You got to be able to say something. Paul Mooney, Red Fox.
I love him.
Paul Mooney, shout out to the Mooney twins, good friends of mine.
Yeah, they're good.
But Paul Mooney, Red Fox, and Bob Saget.
Okay.
Those 3 I always admire because Paul Mooney, of course, he could say something like, I say nigga 100 times a day, it makes my teeth white. He'd look, I don't care what to say. Paul can do that. Red Fox.
Wait. Paul Mooney's sitting on that stool. Hey, look here.
And if he gets somebody laughing, he look them dead in their eyes.
Keep my teeth white. I mean, that is some Paul Mooney down to the socks. That he needs all the awards. He deserves every award that they make, and anything they make after he dies, he deserves that too. He is the epitome of. Yes, I said it.
Right. And smile. I've realized.
Keep a straight face. That's what killed me. Where's my here?
Yeah. You're the devil. You're the devil.
I keep you in here. I don't know what the fuck you in here for. Because I'm finna, you ain't nothing but a bunch of dirty. I mean, he's just so offensive. He he holding
and they'll smile. Yes, you know you're the devil. You know you're the devil.
You know. Turn to your wife. You don't see devil there? You don't see the devil? Like, he's just so offensive. Like,
but here's the thing. They will buy tickets. They'll go to a show. Red Fox was the same way. Bob Saget is the same. But I like the fact that they could go on TV or a movie and be straight, and that night go to a comedy club and rip the place down. Red Fox was so bad they had to put X's on. This is not Fred Sanford. You know who took a piece of that? Eddie Murphy. Because people got so used to seeing Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live, by the time they went to see him on the comedy stage, he was like, if y'all expecting to see what you see on TV,
it's gonna be so weird.
Yeah, that's what I love about
Goonie Google. Okay? Goonie Google. It's gonna be so. That's what I love about Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is just, he has reached Eddie Murphy status as far as I'm concerned. He's reached icon status. With those last Netflix specials that he did, the way that he just told his truth, I was like, man, hands down to you. You
fixing stones. And that's where, believe it or not, that's where I'm categorizing what you do, because I didn't know these were techniques. No doubt. I'm not blowing smoke up.
And where is the aspirin? Let me spray some of this echinacea in my throat here.
You got asthma?
No, this is echinacea. Let me get anything. I need something. Don't put me in the category.
I mean, moisten your throat. Go and moisten your throat now.
Jesus. Go ahead on now with the compliment. Now go ahead. I'm ready.
I see that because I didn't realize until I watched Tony Robbins' I'm Not Your Guru. I didn't realize the things we do on stage, just being ourselves and how I talk to people. When I started the Taboo Talk tours almost 17 years ago, and people, it was therapy. I realized it because the people who could go to a party for 4 hours were staying at my event for 4 hours, and I was just talking. So I recognize that. When I see that, I'm geared into it. You can tell when people love people, though. See, because we can go up there and say anything. Nowadays, everybody got the mic. Everybody going live. We get off here and go on to IG. 15 million people on live right now. Everybody talking about something. Somebody beating a kid on live right now. And that's how you beat a kid. Whew. Oh, how many people watching? One? Okay.
Right.
So there are techniques there, and it's probably zapping you out also to see the things that you've done. Nothing is wasted. You know what I'm saying? You're going to school now, you're studying certain things. You're like, I knew that. Something I think about myself.
I cannot let that compliment go without total and utter appreciation. I am beyond honored to even be mentioned amongst such legends. I don't care if it's a technique or not. Thank you so much for what you said. But I literally decided to study psychology and go to school and get my doctorate for it because I felt that the people deserved a degree. So, in other words, I could have said everything that I've been saying. Well, I mean, without all the statistical and educational background that I say it in, but everything I could say because I kind of already know it. So, kind of like what you said, I kind of already knew that. But I believe that the people with whom I am speaking deserve for me to have taken the time to learn. I don't want you just to listen to me because I'm eloquent or because I'm an oratorical speaker or because I have control of my voice. I want you to listen to me because I've taken the time to know what I'm talking about. And I feel that your situation is important enough to have researched and to have studied. It burns my ass for pastors to just pull up a corner front church on the corner and call it 75th Baptist Church or whatever. And you ain't even got a high school degree. You ain't studied shit. You don't have no theological background for shit and call yourself Dr. Reverend so-and-so. But you don't have, how is it that you have people's souls, salvation, whatever you want to call it, in the palm of your hands and you haven't even taken the time to do any type of study. I think it's an insult.
It is. It's one of the things that, because I talk to people, and thank God for it was friends that were therapists, Dr. Zoe, these other people that start telling me, Troy, you talk, write, and listen to everything like a therapist. And I said, well, I guess that's what I should go. I guess that's what I should go to school for. And it was like, oh, well, you don't really need to go to school for that. I was like, no, but not only for them, but for us. It's something about writing a book and having those letters behind your name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It adds a certain level of validity. Yeah, we can write a book on certain things and all of a sudden we're considered
the level of trust. Yeah.
The level of trust. Right.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. It gives people something, especially, and you're dead on. If somebody opens a church and they up there humping and hawing, but you're not changing somebody's life. They go there for a good word, and then you got some good singers, and right. But what else?
Yeah.
Now we have no excuse.
What are the tools? Because anybody can and all that kind of stuff, right? No problem. But come Monday morning, now what? What tools do I have that I can actually take to carry me through the week? And so I think that we as a people, whether Black people or whatever, need to start asking for manifestations. I need to see something that I can use to say, I got this from this person's knowledge, wisdom, intelligence, whatever, skills that I can actually use to help me without further needing them. Don't give me the precursor. Give me all of it. Tell me what I need to know, at least to push me up to the level where I can help myself. Don't just give me, a net and it got, 4 or 5 different holes in it, but you haven't told me how to mend the holes. You ain't told me shit, really. I got to keep coming to you because I got now, so I'm in my boat. I'm at the fishing hole. All the fish are there, but my fish keep falling out. So now I got to keep coming. Nah, I ain't got time for that shit. People ain't got time for that. Tell me how to fish, how to get the fish, then I don't have to keep coming back to your ass. If I want to come back to you, now I'm coming at you for the next level. How do I cook the fish? Or how do I clean the fish? Then I come back, how do I cook the fish? So forth and so on. Ain't got time to keep coming back for the same shit over and over and over again. That's ego seeking. Ain't got time for that shit.
No, you're dead on. You're dead on. And I could talk to you. I could talk to you for hours. But here's the thing. You're dead on with that because it's one of the things that anything else is just entertainment. And don't get me wrong. I love the fact that we can go and get good entertainment. But the difference between one of the things that made me want to come to Hollywood to see how my live show development skills translated into TV and film was the fact that I watched a young Eddie Murphy produce films. And he wasn't doing buffoonery. He was a Detroit cop showing these guys in Beverly Hills how to, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He was slick. He was a ex-con showing a cop how to do this.
In the pool. Everybody in the pool. In the pool. Come on now.
Right.
It's slippery. But in the pool. In the pool.
Right.
My God, I love that movie so much.
But what always messed me up is I would see Eddie Murphy Productions and he'd hire his whole family. And it's the behind the scenes things that people don't get. They may say, oh, you crazy, this, that, another. But I remember doing shows and people coming up after the show and I had oil for them. I had something I could give them that they could take away and they could use. So thank you for what you're doing because you got something that you can give them where they can take away and you can continuously use it and they can reach out to you. So when you see Meegan, McGlover, it's not just fluff. There's a lot of things. You definitely check out our website. Look, I'm gonna because like I said, we can talk for an hour. I don't mind. But I do want you to take a beat and give people all your information, how they can get in touch with you.
Okay, so everything is Meegan McGlover. Okay, so Instagram, Meegan McGlover. Twitter, Meegan McGlover. Website, MeeganMcGlover.com. I mean, literally, Facebook, Meegan McGlover. If you know my name, you can find me. My email is Meegan@MeeganMcGlover.com. I'm Meegan McGlover everywhere. So I am Meegan McGlover.
So what do you have coming up? What's the most? I know we don't stop. If we have a way for people to get in touch with us, we don't stop. But what do you have coming up? What are you excited most about that you have coming up?
So you know what I want to do? I am going to put together. Matter of fact, you can be a part of one of them. I want to put together a live group therapy session. And I'm going to do a 4-part series. Probably do it on like Zoom or some shit like that. And I want to do that. So that's really important. Because people need to talk right now. And people need to really pay attention to some shit. Because if not, they're going to come out of this not well. Not well.
Right.
The relationships are going to be damaged. It's going to be some funky shit going on. So I want to talk about, sex in quarantine. I want to talk about, how are you continuously learning who you are? Just stuff like that. So I'm excited about that. I'm putting.
So we're gonna do that tomorrow, and log on. No, sorry, you got me excited.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Very soon. And then I want to do. Every Sunday morning, I do a meditation on IG Live at 9:45 Eastern time. I do it every Sunday, and so the requests have come too much that I cannot ignore anymore. And I'm going to do a meditation, recorded meditation series. So where I'm going to record my own guided meditations for people to download for themselves. So I'm excited about that. I've already recorded my own book to make it audible in my own voice. I've already done that. I just have to put it out there. So I'm excited about that because people seem to like my voice. So I'm thinking about phone sex. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, those are the two things.
It's some guy like, yeah, say it again. I said.
She said phone sex. No, I'm not good at phone sex because at some point I'm gonna get like, a little, you know what I mean? And it's not, for some that would be very good.
You gotta know if we have to have a whole nother talk on that side because when I'm doing my session, I was like, how many of y'all know your inner animal? It's the animal you sound like when you climate. What animal do you make the noise? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Somebody growling a certain way. Is it
somebody
Chihuahua? Is the grizzly and a chihuahua in the room? Sound like something's getting murdered. Okay.
Yeah, you remember Cedric the Entertainer in Kings of Comedy when he said Teddy Pendergrass would say turn off the lights, and if you don't do it, he'll yell like turn them off. Like
right. Turn everything off.
Phone sex is eventually going to get there with me.
Right.
That's what yelling at you, and that may not work for you.
Right.
So you leave certain things. You got to know your calling. You got
to know your levels. There's levels of this shit.
Stay in your lane. That's not for me. I can help motivate you, but I can't help you in that way.
The next level.
No, we can't.
All right. Meegan McGlover.
Yes.
Thank you for taking a minute. It's been fun. I just wanted people to know a little bit more about the method behind the madness, even though it's not really madness. I mean, anybody pay attention to you, they see that you got love for the folks and you're doing your homework and you got a lot of substance with it. So that's on point. And yes, I'm down with the Zoom. I got to invite you here when I do my Breakfast Life and Love brunch.
Yes.
My business Life and Love brunch, so you can speak there. But we got some tour stuff coming. And we need some more. We need some books from Meegan. We need a trough of books from you.
Yes, I would be honored to be a part of that. Please let me know. And I'm working on 2 other books right now. I've already written one book, Meegan's Thoughts. But I'm in the process of writing 2 more that are pretty interesting, to say the least. So I'm excited about those 2. I don't talk about them much because it's, you know, I don't know. I also write poetry, but I only write well, when I first started writing poetry, I was just writing my thoughts or whatever, like all poets do. But then I began to write poetry only for special occasions. So like for someone's birthday, I would write a poem. Instead of my remarks, it would be a poem, right? For a funeral service, going home service, celebration of life, whatever you want to call it, I would write a poem. I would not do my own remarks. I would write a poem. So literally, that's the only time I write, is when I'm writing for a moment in time. So writing these 2 books is almost like writing 200 pages of poetry. It's very emotional. It's a lot.
It pulls for everything. Most definitely.
It's a lot. Too much. It's too much. You know, God puts nothing on you that you can't bear, but he puts it real close. He puts it real close. So.
Well, he never said that. He said, it's him. It's him.
Because he's sneaky. You know,
yeah.
Oh, I never put too much you can't bear.
You want to put enough on you, so you got to lean back on him. He's like, this is a little heavy. I got you.
Right. Woo, got the Lord on speed.
Like teaching my daughter how to ride a bike, and I loosened the training wheels. So I was, you know, because if you take them off, then they like, so I loosened them. I said, now you got to balance on your own. She went to lean. I was like, I told you I loosened them, didn't I?
No, you ain't told them. Child Protective Services. They'll be at your door tonight. Don't worry about it.
Oh, no, she's still here.
Somewhere. Here somewhere. That's awesome. Well, thank you for being a good dad, by the way. We need good dads. So we appreciate you all over the world. We really, really appreciate good dads. Thank you for being a good dad.
It is, isn't that the, sometimes people used to, I used to take offense to that. Like people used to be like, oh, you're such a good father. I said, that's redundant. Yeah. I said, you just haven't really seen a father. Cause God is a perfect parent to me. So, and he's never let me down. So I kind of,
for what you just said, good father is redundant. Father is good. Ooh. 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 Oh, that's good shit right there. God, you need to write that shit down. Ooh. Ooh, I'm gonna write a poem on that one. Are you gonna do it? Because if you're gonna do it, I ain't gonna do it.
Oh, you're right.
Okay.
It'll have a week coming from it.
I'm gonna do that for Father's Day. That shit gonna be good there, boy.
Shout out to my man Matt. Right. Black fathers. Fatherhood is forever. Yeah. Are you?
Yeah, I had to get a little.
Really rock to it.
That was good shit. Yeah, edit that part out, but don't worry about it. That was good. That was good shit.
It's gonna be in there.
Put edit that. Nobody wants.
It's gonna be in there. Yeah.
At
the end, he's like, did you see the end when she stopped?
The nasty shit, boy. That was good. Isn't that wonderful to have a conversation where stuff like that is what like really like makes you excited? Not like, well, I was gonna say not booties on the screen, but that might do it for you. But I'm just saying, it's nice to have something, a little.
No, because the first thing I'm thinking about is like, well, the second thing, like third thing. First is like, it's like, God damn, did I say, where's your...
What kind of booty exactly?
Right. It's like, damn, then it's like, where's your father? Like the third thing I think is like, where's your father?
Right.
But the first two things, yeah.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Troy. This has been an honor. I really, really appreciate it. And when I make sure to mention you. I mean, I won't mention you in the poem, but you'll be in the comment section.
Well, we got a lot more to come from Meegan McGlover. We're gonna connect. We're gonna push this thing. I would love to be a part of the Zoom hall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we definitely need it, and we're so many people historically in our diaspora damaged, what have you, and it's simple. It's sad when you learn that how simple the tools are. We just need we need that repetitive motivation over and over again. And some people are like, you get it all the time. It's like, yeah, we got to reinforce it. So
we need to know that it's okay to talk. I had a client who had taken on some responsibility. She was a mom and a grandmother, and she had taken on more than she could chew as a grandparent and a parent. And so it was really causing chaos in her life. And I said, you need to talk to your children. It's just that simple. And tell them what you can and cannot do. And that's right. Oh, but no. There's no but. You just tell them.
And how old was she?
She was close to 60. She's in her 50s.
Young as all life. Your children grown, and you got another set. And she every piece of her wanted to say, I already did this.
Yeah. And I'm not, I can't do it. I cannot physically, I cannot do it. Emotionally, I cannot do it. Spiritually, I cannot do it. Blah, 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 blah. So anyways, make a long story short, after I convinced her, after about 2 sessions, she...
2 sessions didn't take long.
She, oh no, because, I'm like, do it now. And so she did, and they were very understanding. Right. And I can't believe how understanding they were. And I was like,
and she had a date the next night.
Yeah, but we don't even try. We don't even try. We are so afraid to talk, just afraid to say what we need and what we want. Look, I tell people all the time, you need to designate a time of day that is for you. I don't care how old your children are. I need 1 hour. Don't bother me for 1 hour. Yeah. Don't bother me. And I mean, don't bother me. There's one of my favorite movies is entitled As Good as It Gets with Jack Nicholson.
Yes. Yeah,
he tells his neighbor, don't knock on this door for any reason. Not even if you hear the sound of a thought coming from my home, and 1 week later there's a smell coming from there that can only be that of a decaying body, where you have to hold a hanky to your face because the stench is so thick that you think you're going to faint. Even then.
Not even then.
Don't come knocking. Okay? That's what you have to tell your children. Don't knock on my door for any reason, because then they will start to understand how important personal space is, even for themselves. And you have to demand that when a child is 2, 3, 16, 18, it doesn't matter. You have to begin to say what you want. People treat you the way you allow them to. This is a fact. And you cannot be there 24/7 for everybody all the time, because you're never there.
I know somebody out there right now is like, Troy, I thought you was. This is for me. Y'all can watch if you want. If y'all gotta go somewhere. This is for me. Keep on.
But yeah, you have to make sure that you give yourself time, because if you don't, not only are you suffering, but you are causing your children to suffer, because there's a thing called pathology. Your children will do what you do. So if you want them to understand personal time, personal space, self-efficacy, self-esteem, self-empowerment, all these different things, you have to show them that. And if you do not show them that, only simply by encouraging them to be themselves, blah, blah, but they're looking at you, they're watching you. Children do what you do, not what you say. And so you have to, the reason why I run in the morning is because my mother walked every day. She walked 5 to 8 miles every day. When she was murdered, she was walking. So you literally are doing what you're being shown. Human beings, it is a statistical fact that human beings learn visually. So of course, there's auditory and so forth and so on, but mostly visually in combination with other ways of learning. But once something is shown to you, you then can digest it, ingest it, if you will, and it becomes a part of your memory. So you can tell your children all day long, oh, take time for yourself. But if they don't see you taking time for yourself, they have no idea what you're talking about. And that is something that we have to make sure that we do, men and women. It's not just a woman thing. Men should have a place in the home. I don't give a shit if it's a little corner of the home, if it's a personal chair. It's best for a man to have a garage or some type of a room, a cubby hole or something where he can just go in there and do men shit, scratching his balls, whatever it is that men do. There needs to be a place for a man to do that. A woman needs to have her own space as well, whether it's a bathroom, a personal room, a meditation area, whatever it is. These things are important, okay? Right. Children have their own rooms where they can do children shit, spread Cheeto powder all over the walls, whatever it is that they do, because you have to be able to align yourself with yourself at some point of the day so that you can regroup and then go out and re-embrace the world. But if you don't have those spaces, you're just constantly spreading yourself thin, and eventually you'll dissipate. You'll be gone, and you'll just be living, and that's no way to live. That's not what you want.
I've been telling a couple friends in this moment, especially in this, like I said, this time that we're in, so strategic, but we have become a society worldwide, but especially in the United States, that has disassociated itself with rest. Without rest, there is no restoration. There's no restore. There is no, without rest, you don't have that. You don't have a place to sit back. I heard Tony Robbins say one time, he said, if you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. What he was talking about is just the time it takes in the morning, stretch. You said you go run. Some people may hit the gym. And some people, I'm big on that. So, because some people work out and it's a part of their work schedule. And for those people that psyche, your psyche is, okay, I got this time to work out. It's not rest. It's a part of your schedule of things to do. And I've been telling friends, close friends to me, look, before this, I was like, take an hour a day where it's just about you. I don't care if it's ice cream or masturbation. I'm lactose intolerant. Whatever it is.
You know what it is? Yeah.
I mean, I do like a good ice cream sundae. I'm a foodie. Don't get me wrong. TMI, y'all.
Listen to what people talk now.
Right. I'm a foodie, so yeah, I do it. But you got to do something for yourself daily. And now people are losing their minds because they don't have work. And work was the big thing. If you spend, it's like our children. We send our children to school for. When I looked at the time, I remember when my daughter was in preschool, and I would drop her off at 7:30, 8 o'clock, sometimes a little bit later. I would pick her up around close to 6 as possible, so I get as much work as I've done during the day as possible. Think about that time.
Hours. Damn.
Here's the thing. I guarantee you, if you talk to most of the parents you're talking to that work and drop their kids off to school, we're not doing 9 a.m. to 2 anymore, or 9 a.m. to 3 or 4. Most parents are dropping their kids off early at some kind of thing, and either the babysitter or the because of the work schedule. We were latchkey kids. I was. I know I got you by some years, but I was a latchkey.
Oh yeah.
I was. You get home, you let yourself in, lock the door behind you. Don't be running out. Don't be letting everybody know you're home by yourself. That was what the parents told you. Don't let everybody know you're home by yourself. My parents left me home by myself for the first time. I was like 11. They went away for the weekend. Don't tell your aunt.
Right.
Holler at you when we get back.
Right.
I found everything. I found my father's stash. I was like, ooh, this is wonderful. Oh, I had a ball. That's in my book.
No, should have never gave you niggas money.
I was like, hey, Dad, F your couch. yo, cow. No. All right. Let me get out of here. I gotta go. I gotta let you go.
We watch too much TV, clearly, between
Wait,
you and I.
but it helps. It helps us work this muscle. We got to have stuff to pull from when we're in front of people for hours. But you got some good stuff coming. Meegan McGlover.
Yes, Troy, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be on your broadcast. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to get in touch with Meegan anywhere online. Meegan McGlover. Go to her website. Check out what she's about. See where she's coming. Get some of her merch. She got some of the best merch I've seen in a long time. T-shirts. I got to get the good dick. Was it the good dick T-shirt? I was on the floor about. Other people got good. He got, there's more
people got it too.
It's like after she explained everything she was doing, he was like, girl, this wrong, that wrong, this wrong, this wrong. Yeah, but he got that good dick though. Hey, somebody else got it.
Other people got good dick too, ho. And because all of my T-shirts come from videos. So I've done a video and then I'll say something. They're like, oh, you should make that a T-shirt. I'm like, oh, okay. So that basically was about what you just said. You got to stay with him because he got good dick. I promise you, other people got good dick too. I promise you. If you try it, you will.
And he might treat you right and love you better.
On top of good dick.
Mm-hmm. And it might have enough.
That sounds like some God sent shit now. So, that's what that is about. And there's so many other T-shirts. There's a T-shirt with an arrow facing up that says, this is when God loves you, bitch. It's a T-shirt. It's a T-shirt. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Meegan.
T-shirts say what most people don't want to say out of their mouths.
I was about to say my girl Ida Rodriguez. She has a whole broadcast called "I'll Say It For You." I'm pulling the whole crew of folks like that together so we can start doing more stuff and bringing people in. But I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. Want to hear more about your dissertation, books, the whole nine? Check out Meegan McGlover. Her information is below in all the links. You can find her. Millie Brown.
All right. Bye, Troy. Thank you so much.
See you later.
Continue to do what you're doing. Please stay encouraged. We need you. We need you. We need you. We need good shit. So please continue to do what you're doing. We love it.
Thanks. I appreciate you. Talk to you soon.
So I just clicked the end, right? How do I get out of this?